Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And talking about Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and we're going to cover the topic of random encounters. Today I have selected one idea for you that you can pillage, use it as you wish, change it of course, makes perfect sense. We're talking about a carnivorous vine creature attacking a Minotaur. This is the random encounter. It's more tailored for Dungeons & Dragons 5e because I'm playing Dungeons & Dragons 5e, therefore it makes more sense, and that's why I'm sort of focusing more on that particular game system. But you could use it in Pathfinder or another role-play game if you wanted to. Now what has happened is the player's characters come across a thorny, carnivorous vine creature or plant, and it is killing the Minotaur. It's attacking it. It's restrained the Minotaur, so the Minotaur is having quite a lot of trouble fighting it off. And what we need to focus on is not so much that there are two monsters or creatures that the players could destroy. What we're trying to do is see if the players will assist our Minotaur and reverse the roles that we normally understand with a Minotaur. Normally, players associate Minotaur, destroy. And we want to work away from that and get them to try and do something else. And we're going to provide the players with a series of choices. There really are only about 3 different choices that I'm going to talk about, but your players might come up with a few other ideas as well. So what sort of choices might they decide to engage in? Well, player choices, I think, is they could do nothing and simply just let the Minotaur die and have the plant creature devour the Minotaur. And then, of course, just move on and leave it. That's fine. That certainly could be an option. They won't get anything from doing that. They won't get any experience points. They won't get any treasure. And they certainly won't get any additional information or assistance or an ally in some form. So that's all lost if they do that. But they can make that choice. Number 2 is they destroy the vine creature and save the injured Minotaur. Now they only have a limited amount of time to do this, and the concept behind this is that they need to work very, very quickly to destroy the vine creature, otherwise they're going to lose the benefits of this situation and encounter. The other option is they could kill both the vine creature and Minotaur, which would be quite difficult, but they could do it if they wanted to. So those are the sort of basic choices they have. There may be something else they come up with. It'd really be up to them to figure out that sort of stuff though. Now what is the purpose of this random encounter? It's not so random. You could treat it as a random encounter. You could treat it just as an encounter they have. Its purpose is a moral or ethical dilemma. A dilemma that they have to work through. And why we're using this is it's like a character moral compass DM check. So if the Dungeon Master wants to check how the player is running their character, you can use this like a compass check to see where they sort of sit. Because a lot of people, when they say they're going to play a particular character, they play it a particular way, but they select an alignment that doesn't really fit with their character simply because they want to play something else. So we're checking the compass of our player's character, essentially. Now, this can function in the story a number of different ways. It could be placed as a random encounter. It could be just a side quest that you provide, or you could connect it directly to your main campaign. So there's a lot of different ways you can deal with this. You don't have to just pick one way. I would suggest that you decide on what sort of fits your own campaign. Not everything is going to work for everybody, therefore, pick the one that works for you. Now, what about our location for this creature? Where do we stick this encounter and this plant creature? You can pick a location or a place, it's up to you. I've got 4 suggestions for you. The first one I would say is a forest area. I think that's suitable for a Minotaur, certainly one that is densely packed. You could use a forest region. Another option is an overgrown ruins, collection of old structures that have been there for a long time, and sort of the wilderness and forest and undergrowth has sort of grown around it. You can place this encounter in a location like that. I'm selecting locations that have plenty of vegetation, plants, and vines, essentially. That's the concept behind what I'm doing here. You could go with the hedge mage. the hedge maze, should I say. Is there a hedge mage? I don't think there is. So often we associate the Minotaur with a maze. So you could do that if you wanted to. I've provided you with a sort of an image that you can have a look at. If you're wondering where a lot of these images are coming from, Magic the Gathering. That's where you'll find a lot of these images. Okay, and then the last one I would say is just general wilderness or undergrowth. Not necessarily a forest, but maybe there's a dense section of thickets or something like that. You could use a location like that in your adventure as well. Okay, so how do we sort of run this? How do you run this in your own adventure? I'm going to suggest that you use, of course, the Minotaur stat block in the monster manual. But instead of the full number of hit points the Minotaur would normally have, it's already suffered some injuries. So it's already damaged, it's already injured, it's in distress, they need to work quickly, and therefore we're going to reduce its hit points by half. I know that sounds like a lot, but remember, your players don't necessarily have to be successful in this encounter. It may play out a particular way. The idea is to try and get the Minotaur free and away from the creature rather than just belt the creature until it dies and attack the vine creature until it dies, and then of course they save the Minotaur. There are plenty of other ways of dealing with this, and depending on their level and the kind of spells they have, there are lots of other options to actually help the Minotaur in this situation. So as I've said, this is a race against time. They have to work quickly. They probably won't have more than about 1 or 2 rounds before it's going to be all over for the Minotaur, particularly because its hit points have been reduced by about half. So something to bear in mind when you're running an encounter like this is they have to work very, very quickly to be successful. Now, if the players or the player characters do nothing or act too slowly, then by all means have the carnivorous vine plant creature kill the Minotaur. I don't think that's an issue. Just do that, okay? These sorts of things happen. They didn't work quickly enough, they paused, and the Minotaur dies. Okay, what else could possibly happen in this situation we need to talk about? If the party kill the Minotaur, decide to actually kill the Minotaur, they are also going to find themselves in a position where they'll have to fight the carnivorous vine creature. The Minotaur is not going to attack them. It's far more concerned about the creature or plant that's trying to eat it. So if an encounter takes place, you don't need to play up the Minotaur trying to attack the player's characters, thinking that they are trying to attack it. It will probably figure out that what's taking place, provided somebody doesn't target the Minotaur, is that they are trying to free it. Otherwise, they would have just left it to die, right? Okay, so play that out that particular way. When it comes to things like what sort of creature do we use in terms of the vine creature? Now, if the party try to rescue the Minotaur, they will need to destroy the vine attacking the Minotaur. They'll need to free it in some way, as I've said. They could also heal its wounds at the end of the encounter, provided they are successful. I would use the Shambling Mound stat block from the Monster Manual. Personally, I think that's probably the best one to use, which means that the intended challenge rating for this particular encounter is challenge rating 5. We're not going to build in the concept that they are going to get experience points for attacking the Minotaur. That was never the intention to begin with this encounter. It was really to see if they would assist the Minotaur and free the Minotaur from the vine creature. So focus on that. Okay, so as I said, I think the Shambling Mound makes a pretty good vine creature in this situation. Give the Minotaur death saving throws. So if the Minotaur is reduced to 0 hit points and it is dying, then treat it like an important NPC. Rather than just a standard NPC when it reaches 0 hit points it dies and there's nothing more the players can do. That would be my suggestion to you when you're trying to apply this encounter. Now, how do you award experience points? Award experience points as indicated in the Monster Manual. That means for the vine creature or Shambling Mound, award full experience points for defeating the vine creature. If they are If all they do is free the Minotaur from the vine creature, that's good enough to award them all of the experience points for the Shambling Mound as far as I'm concerned. What if they decide to kill the Minotaur? If they kill the Minotaur, then I would suggest awarding them half the experience points as listed in the monster manual. If they rescue the Minotaur, award full experience points as if they had defeated the Minotaur. It's a nice, easy way to deal with all of this. So that's how I would deal with your experience points in terms of this particular encounter. Now there are some extra awards the players can scrape up or collect if they wanted to. And the first one is award them, provided they have rescued the Minotaur and the Minotaur is still alive, the Minotaur can provide important information for your campaign or adventure. Now, it should not be an information that is absolutely vital that they must have. It is just additional extra information that would be useful provided they do actually rescue the Minotaur. The Minotaur could also provide help. That means an NPC that will go and travel along with them and assist them as they are adventuring. The Minotaur is not really scaled at a particularly high level for high level play, but that doesn't matter. It's got plenty of hit points. It can take a bit of a bruising if they get into a battle, and even if the characters are sitting in the level 5 to 6 range, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But that's only provided they rescue the Minotaur. What about building a better relationship with the Minotaur? Now, this is where we're driving the encounter. The players can build a better relationship with the Minotaur. This could be a regular contact. This might be just a friend that travels with them for a short period of time, or an ongoing friend that they have an interaction with for quite a long period of time. There's lots of ways of playing this out. Now, normally, with a random encounter, and when I build a random encounter, I don't make it combat focused. What I've done with this one is I've made it has elements of combat to it, but its purpose is very different. It's not just about destroy the monster, collect the experience points. It's actually far more difficult to achieve because there's a different objective and goal involved, and that is to try and rescue somebody else. Now, if you found this video helpful, informative, and useful, excellent, great news. I have only a small collection of random encounters that you could check out on my YouTube channel, but you're welcome to go and find them. I have hundreds of videos for players and dungeon masters if you're interested in additional content that I make, and I covers all sorts of different topics. If you want to support the channel so I keep making content like this, you can support me on Patreon, where you get access to the unlisted live streams, you get priority on any of the videos that I make, and you get additional content that I make that only patrons get. You can also support me by using the affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description. All of my videos have a merchandise shelf if you want to buy some merchandise. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.